All right, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all like Akim wa Akwath, learning, teaching, truth, and sincerity. Hey, was just on the phone with the brother. We're just doing some talking. Let me see. We got to talking about obesity for a second. Because, how, in the ancient world, man, you could imagine everybody on planet Earth wasn't walking around obese. We didn't have all this technology and convenience. You had to get out here and work. I can imagine, especially amongst us, the Israelites, our women have the highest rates of obesity. All right, I'm not talking shit. I'm just keeping it real. Our women wasn't walking around all obese back in the ancient world. Not like how it is now. They was out there. Hey, our women are known for being, stacked, right? Them hips, that'll make you trip. And that chest, that'll make you sweat. Right? So when did this get all out of hand? And we know America's involved. We know Esau Edom's involved. So just pinpoint it. It came to mind. And it goes to show you, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he's just a fucking demon, right? He's a demon all around the board. He is in control of the society. He's in control of things that are going on because the Heavenly Father has allowed him to be. And with that power, is he doing good? Is he making sure everybody can read and is healthy, breathing good air, has affordable housing, has several vehicles, so life is easier to transport around, or when you're moving, not transport, commute, so you can get you and your family around where you need them. No, he's poisoning you, destroying shit, making shit expensive, right? So I just typed in, when did obesity rise? And one part that sticks out, it says right here, this part, the most plausible explanation for the obesity epidemic in the USA is that around 1978 through 1980, there was a major increase in consumption of UPFSs. So we got to go look. What the fuck is a UPFS? What is a UPFS? Let's take a look. Boom. UPFS, ultra-processed foods, a global threat to public health. A global threat. Worldwide. How you come to this article from The Guardian, how ultra-processed foods took over your shopping basket. Things in cans, things in a box, and things in a bag, y'all. Our ancestors didn't eat this shit. That's why they're on a higher level. And this man, Esau Edom, knows that consuming these things brings down your physical capability, brings down your mental faculties, which lowers your intelligence and capabilities, and it ultimately lowers the vibration of your spirit, right? It's like putting fucking rubbing alcohol in your car engine and expecting that shit to be able to go somewhere. It can't. You need proper fuel, and certain fuels are better than others. All right, 88 ain't the best fuel. 89's a little better. 90's a little better. 91, 92, 93 is top of the line, right? So you read a little bit of this, and I got this video I'm going to let play, but I just wanted to touch on this. And, like I said, y'all, this really goes to show you, Esau Edom, he's the man in charge, and he is purposely, matter of fact, y'all, he is setting these things up, forcing us to live like this. We're actually going to go to Proverbs. I want to get this out of Proverbs 29:1. No, 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. All right? So we wouldn't be in such a bad estate if scientists were good and doctors were good and engineers were good and technology and executives, CEOs, if all these people were good people, we would be prospering on the earth right now. Are we prospering on the earth right now? Flying F no. All right, come back. The Guardian says how ultra-processed food took over your shopping basket. It says it's cheap, attractive, and convenient, and we eat it every day. It's difficult not to, but is ultra-processed food making us ill and driving the global obesity crisis? The answer to that is an easy and an obvious yes, and anyone who denies it is a demon and a devil. Whether they be denying it because they get monetary benefits from you eating bad foods, or they're just a plain fool and they trust in everything the white man says. 10 out of 10 doctors say, right? It says nearly 3 decades ago, so in the 70s, or 80s, Slovakia, This is a person talking, so this person's probably in their 30s now. It says, when I was an overweight teenager, I sometimes ate 6 pieces of sliced white toast in a row. Shit. Each one slathered in butter or jam. I remember the spongy texture of the bread as I took it from its plastic bag. No matter how much of this supermarket toast I ate, I hardly felt sated, or meaning full. It was like eating without really eating. Other days I would buy a box of Crunchy Nut cornflakes or a tube of Pringles, sour cream and onion flavor, stackable snack chips, which were an exciting novelty at the time, meaning new. Having only arrived in the UK in 1991, although the carton was big enough to feed a crowd, I could demolish most of it by myself in a sitting. Each chip, with its salty and powdery sour cream coating, sent me back for another one. It says, I love the way the chips curved like roof tiles, would dissolve slightly on my tongue. So this guy's detailing his little fat ass experience, right? And that's how it gets you. It feels good and it tastes good, but it's no good for you because it doesn't have nutrients, in which he's describing what we all feel. You eat all this food, but you don't truly feel satiated. You don't feel nourished after it. And that's how you keep eating more, keeping you fat. And that's something, honestly, y'all, you just gotta fight through. You have to know when you've eaten enough. You've eaten enough, nigga. You're not gonna die if you go without eating now. It's time to finish eating. All right, and that's why here in this truth, something that we have to practice is being temperate with our diet. All right, and fasting. You should be fast. As a Hebrew Israelite, I don't care. Hey, unless you got some sort of medical underlying, like type 2 diabetes, which, people who have that, you got to be careful fasting. You can go into a diabetic coma. But outside of that, unless you got some sort of super deadly issue going on, you should be fasting. If you're a Hebrew Israelite and you're not, come on, that's your spirituality. That's one of your connectors to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You flowing in the spirit. You just living off the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? Fasting and diet control, man. Sirach, what is that, 31, and is it 19? Perfect. A very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetcheth not his wind sure upon his bed. So when you're eating a balanced diet and a controlled portion, you're not all big stomached trying to sleep, choking on your own vomit, because now your body is still going through the digestion phase. You're able to sleep and not have any issues in your body. Verse 20, sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. But the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man. Right, so when you can't control your stomach, that leads to all types of problems with your body, and one of them being irritable, right? Because when your body's going through affliction, especially based off your diet, people tend to be irritable, which is why you have the phrase, you're not you when you're hungry, all right? And you're also not you when you big stomached and full of GMOs and, monosodium, MSG, with a monosodium glutamate, all that shit up in you. You kicked up, as Jake say, geeked up, right? So let's come. I want to get to the main point of this article because he's just talking here. Let me see. I want to get specifically. Okay, we'll deal with this right here. You jump down because he was just talking. Then I got a video I want to play a little bit of. Right here it says, what characterizes ultra processed foods is that they are altered that they're altered so that it can be hard to recognize the underlying ingredients. These are concoctions engineered from ingredients that are already highly refined, such as cheap vegetable oils, flours, whey proteins, and sugars, which are then whipped into something more appetizing with the help of industrial additives such as emulsifiers. All right, and things that are refined mean what? They go through a process of creation in a factory. They're not naturally put together in the earth, water, dirt, growing up, seed, right? An animal being nourished up, then skinned, and no, It's straight factory bullshit. And Esau Edom has given this to everybody on purpose to destroy you. Alright? And this is a guy in the UK feeling the effects of this. And we know, you know, it started here in Babylon, but this shit is worldwide now. It's worldwide now. Alright, so let's go back, and like I said, and the other on Google, it said between the 70s and the 80s, which is what? Introduction and the green light for what? GMOs, FDA approved, genetically modified organisms released into the public on mass scale. That's why, you know, you have certain brothers, you know, older brothers in the camp who, you know, were alive before the 70s and 80s. Their bodies are of a different sort compared to, you know, a younger brother like me, you know, born in the 90s. Our bodies are of a weaker sort. We're, you know, even though we're younger, you know, we've got our speed and our strength right now, but, you know, man for man, cell for cell, right? We've been born in a different era. All right, so hey, ultimately, y'all, hey, through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we are what we are. The Heavenly Father's in control of everything. He has the ability to make food not affect you as much. So don't, you know, don't bug out off of it. But, you know, just keeping it real. You know, we're on two, you know, hey, each generation gets weaker and weaker. That's second Esdras.
Deep in the heart of Wayzata, Minnesota, lies one of the biggest family dynasties in America, except you've never heard of their name. This family dynasty made more money last year than Coca-Cola, Nestle, and Chevron combined. In fact, they're the largest private company in the US, and this single company controls a massive share of your food supply. They're responsible for supplying food for some of the biggest brands out there, like McDonald's, Burger King, Kellogg's, Mars, Dunkin' Donuts, Unilever, Safeway, Kroger, Albertsons, Audi, Tesco, and many, many more. Look in your kitchen right now, and you're gonna find a ton of food made by this secret mega corporation. From cocoa powder to cooking oil, salt, sugar, eggs, meat, but you won't find their name on any of these labels. Most of you have never even heard of this name before. That's because this American dynasty has worked very hard to keep it that way. They don't want you to know what they're doing behind their factory doors, because if you ever found out, you would never buy their food products again. It's that bad. What is the name of this family, you ask? Cargill. Processed food from companies like Cargill is a surefire way to shorten your life. But fortunately, longevity researchers like David Sinclair have recently made some promising discoveries on how to mitigate or even slow down aging altogether. And that is why I use Verso. Verso helps you grow. So if you want to started out as a single shack on the side of the road, but today they're a whole lot bigger. Cargill is the largest private company in the US, and if they were public, they would be ranked number 15 on the Fortune 500 list, just in front of AT&T. And Cargill has its fingers in almost every pie imaginable, from grains to livestock to palm oil and coca, to metals, animal feed, energy, and even hedge funds. Their total revenue in 2021 was $135 billion, which is almost double the amount of what other big agricultural companies like ADM, Bunge, and Dreyfus made that year. In fact, this makes Cargill bigger than the entire GDP of Morocco. But if you wanted to buy some Cargill shares, you would be fresh out of luck, because Cargill doesn't want your peasant money. It is not worth it to them. Cargill has purposely remained a private company. For a lot of companies, going public on the stock market is...
So you see these devils working in the shadows. They're a private company. You know, he's breaking it down. You know, they're not, you can't, your little black ass in the hood ain't finna do no business with no Cargill. They're not gonna give you a business contract for you, you know, to be delivering their food. They're ultra secret demons, demonic demons. Why? So they can destroy you in secret.
The dream. But Cargill knows that if they went public, they would have to report everything to the shareholders, which would expose them to a lot of public scrutiny. But for what? It's not like they need the money. They already secretly control the food industry. There's a reason why their name doesn't ring a bell. Why? Well, you can't boycott something you don't know about, right? And there's a lot to boycott about. When you own an agriculture business, you're at the constant whims of nature. Droughts, floods, global shortages of seeds. All of that can be a very serious threat to your main moneymakers. What if your primary food export suddenly dried up one day? And that was the exact position Cargill found themselves in 1997 during the Asian financial crisis. See, at the time, Cargill was sourcing a lot of its crops from the Philippines, Taiwan.
So, they're starting from 97, but as we saw the article, 70s and 80s, so this, I just wanted to show you, this is a part of the problem. These Edomites got their fingers in their hands dipped in everything. And what are they doing with it? Are they being responsible and honorable? No. They're being demons in the dark. All right. Which is why we're now, we have to practice, fasting, which we've got to be fasting anyway, but we have to practice balanced diet, watching this, watching that. The Heavenly Father gave us the meat and the herbs of the field for our goodness, and this guy didn't use it to destroy everybody. Scripture that comes to mind. I've lost my train of thought. You got that one, Micah 2:1, but we'll go to Slakia. I had to check out my maps. We'll go to Sirach 36:4. Not Sirach, Psalms 36:4. He deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. So this so-called white man does things that are demonic, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care how it affects people at all. He has his bottom line, and really this goes past money and that's the lower end people of the corporations, but the higher ups, the elites, the Amalekites, they all know what this is about. Fuck everybody off so they can make it easier for their world domination, NWO, and keep the Israelites down bad, right?
At the time, Cargill was sourcing a lot of its crops from the Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, and Korea. But when Asia fell into a financial crisis, it caused a lot of the agriculture producers Cargill was buying from to close down. Suddenly, Cargill couldn't get soy, wheat, and corn from these countries at the same prices they were before. So Cargill ended up losing $4 billion, which at the time was the equivalent of 8 years of profit for them. It was one of Cargill's biggest losses to date, and it plunged them into debts. Understandably, the Cargill family panicked. So they shook up management and put a new guy in charge to hopefully lead them back to the promised land. And the man they chose to do that was Warren Stolley, one of Cargill's most loyal employees that had been working there since 1969. And when Warren Stolley stepped up as the head of Cargill, he did in fact lead them back to the promised land, but at a huge cost.
Date now on both.
At a huge cost. Cargill needed to dig themselves out of that $4 billion pit, and since one of their most lucrative crops was coca, they went on the hunt for an ultra-cheap source, and they eventually found it on the Ivory Coast. During the 90s, children were being trafficked from Mali into the Ivory Coast for slave labor. These kids weren't being paid, they were barely fed, they were physically abused, and were basically held hostage on these farms. One child slave came forward saying that they were forced to spray pesticides on coca crops without any protective clothing. Others say that they were whipped with branches and left in solitary confinement. According to other reports, children who tried to escape were forced to drink urine as punishments. Others say that their feet were cut open and pepper would be rubbed into their wounds. But the benefit of all this child labor is that these farms were able to produce extremely cheap coca. So companies like Nestle, Hershey, Mars, and Cargill put their orders in as fast as possible.
Wow, y'all. Wow. And these are the very same companies that, a motherfucker would get out of college and have a PhD and feel honored to get a job under them making $80,000 or $100,000 a year and think they're somebody in this world. Meanwhile, your company is straight up using fucking straight slave labor, right? This world, boy, when you really peel under the skin of this place and see all the shit that's going on, god damn it, boy.
In 2005, the International Labor Rights Fund found out about Cargill's connection to these slave camps and filed a lawsuit against them. As of today, the case still hasn't been resolved, and since then, Cargill has just continued growing their coca business. In 2018, Cargill put together plans to expand their coca storehouses in Abidjan, a city in the Ivory Coast. In 2019, they invested $113 million into coca processing plants in both the Ivory Coast and Ghana, while at the same time, they keep saying they're against child labor in the press. With coca on lockdown, now Cargill just needed some cheap land.
So, I would like to let the whole video play, but you see, I'm pulling this to show you, this is what they're doing just to get the food in here, y'all. So the food, they're not even fully covering the food itself. This is just everything that's being done just to get the daggone food up in this mug, y'all. This place ain't no good. All right, I've done, this is one of the topics in particular I like to deal with. This man has just destroyed everything. He's destroyed everything. So man, I hit all the scriptures I kind of really wanted to hit. Man, don't know what to say. Shit, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all like the Akim wa Akwath, learning and teaching in truth and sincerity. Shalom.